Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic: what movie death scene is seared into your memory? Curb stomp from American History X. The sound of the teeth on the curb. I never understood what a curb stomp really was until that moment. It stuck my head too. No question. The scene in Casino where Joe Pesci watches his brother get beaten to death with aluminum baseball bats. The pinging sound haunts me to this day. And that was a true story, right down to the dirt in the respiratory tract from being buried alive. Jesus. I know the film was based on a true story, but I didn't know that about the scene. Makes it so much worse. Thanks for the nightmare fuel fun fact. Ha ha. Saving Private Ryan is one of my all-time favorite movies, but I can't watch the scene where Mellish gets stabbed. Mine is where Medic Wade gets shot and dies. Tell us how to fix you. It's brutal. John Coffey from the Green Mile. Don't put me in the dark, I's afraid of the dark. That and the Cajun guy whose head lights up in the chair. WOOO. He's cookie now. Bridge to Terabithia. Thanks for killing me inside. In Titanic, the man plummeting from the sinking ship into the icy waters only to have his fall interrupted by still, metal propellers. That did put a hell of a spin on him for the rest of the descent into the water. Is this the guy that falls and then spins? I remember seeing this back in '97 and the theater collapsed with laughter at that part despite how quiet and serious everything was. My kids loved Titanic but always used to piss themselves at that scene and rewind to watch it several times. Littlefoot's mom dying. Watching that as a kid was the first time that I realized that my parents could die, so that scene has especially stuck with me throughout the years. That is exactly when I realized that, as well. It was traumatizing as hell. If I ever needed to cry on demand, I could just think of him chasing after his shadow, thinking it was his mom. Ghost ship. A cable sweeps through a dance floor so fast and sharp it slices people in half. Ask my dad of a synopsis of any movie and he says, they all die, everybody dies. Doesn't matter what the movie is about. I was so happy when I finally got him to watch Ghost Ship. Best opening scene ever. Such a shame that the rest of the movie pales in comparison. This will always be in my memory. Wasn't the captain dancing with the little girl and she watches as his head falls apart? He kind of gets sliced diagonally and she is too short to get cut by the cable. I watched this movie a bunch of times, I'm not sure why. Edit, I may be misremembering. I do think one of them got the head slice, but now I'm questioning if it was the captain. The shoe in Roger Rabbit. How about the steamroller scene? That movie was packed to the brim with traumatic whimsy. When I killed your brother, I talked just like this. Asterisk eyes turn into daggers asterisk. That scene still gives me the creeps. Love the movie though. The baby gorilla in the animated Tarzan. What the hell, Disney? That whole movie had a lot of death. Clayton's death at the end was really dark. Didn't notice the shadow of his hanging corpse as a kid, I was too focused on the machete. Also didn't notice that you can see Tarzan's parents' corpses. I couldn't accept that Disney killed Emo's siblings and the baby gorilla, and I remember replaying the scenes because I just couldn't get it out of my head. In Silence of the Lambs, when Abel gets a hold of the guard in his cage cell and starts biting his face. 9-year-old me was not ready for that, and I was less ready to hear my mom start laughing hysterically at the scene. I guess she just found it absurd. 9-year-old me was not ready for that. Was 9-year-old you ready for Buffalo Bill to talk about getting fucked in the mirror? I'd fuck me so hard. Not technically a death, but when Wall-E's memory banks got fried at the end, I felt that in my soul. Thankfully Pixar would never leave us on a note like that, but damn. That little robot moved me so much. I think it's really fascinating how much emotion and life you can put into a thing by just using eye movements. It wasn't just his eyes, the way he held his head, the way his hands interacted with objects, his giggle and the thoughtful way he tried to pronounce words with his limited voice. All of it came together to create a much more lifelike character than anything we saw in the DC movies or Twilight series, which ironically used living people instead of cartoon robots. Will Smith smothering the dog as it turns in I Am Legend. In the Price version, they just had him find the germs under a microscope and next he's burying a dog-sized cloth bundle with a stake in it. When they crush Piggy in Lord of the Flies. I was probably too young to watch. Also, the scientist who gets killed in the elevator in Damien, The Omen 2. I remember when I read The Lord of the Flies and I felt so bad for poor Simon. I can't find my glasses. I don't know why, but any time a kid gets their glasses broken in a show/movie, I shatter emotionally. When the shark kills Kint in Jaws. This is mine. Probably because I was 11 and watching it in a packed theater. The whole experience is still a vivid memory. That movie blew people away. Hereditary, the car crash. The way he just goes home and goes straight to bed. Chilling. The way he just lays there with his eyes open all night. I don't want to imagine what thoughts were spinning through his mind as he lay there for hours, then hearing his parents wake up but not knowing what to tell them, then hearing his mom go out to the car knowing what is waiting for her. That whole scene is so stressful on so many levels. Yeah, that one was horrifying. The whole atmosphere and eerie silence afterwards was pure filmmaking magic. It was way too much for me. If I had known how it would feel beforehand, I would never have watched that scene. Boromir in Fellowship of the Ring. It gets dusty in the room just remembering it. I would have followed you, my brother, my captain, my king. Feels. The old wisdom that was born out of the West was forsaken. Kings made tombs more splendid than the houses of the living and counted the names of their descent dearer than the names of their sons. Childless lords sat in aged halls musing on heraldry or in high, cold towers asking questions of the stars. And so the people of Gondor fell into ruin. The line of kings failed, the white tree withered, and the rule of Gondor was given over to lesser men. The scene in Bone Tomahawk where they rip the guy in half. This fucky scene, I hate it that it haunts me and interrupts my thoughts every once in a while. I'd be thinking about work, my kids, planning stuff, wishbone scene, and my fucky day is ruined. If you watch, he actually shits himself as they start hacking, adding to the horrible realism of it all. Okay, I really don't want to have to go watch this scene again. I've watched the move twice. Once was enough when it came out. I watched it again a couple weeks ago when I stumbled across it on Netflix or Prime, so it's somewhat fresh. I remember then the tearing starts, seeing dark stuff falling out of his ass, but I thought that was his guts/intestines. Though I guess that's where the poop is stored. I just don't remember seeing it and thinking, oh, there's his shit falling out of his ass. Gotta be the scene in Inglourious Basterds where Bridget von Hammersmark is strangled to death. That was intense. I feel like I remember the bear Jew scene a little more clearly than this one, but yeah, this is still super intense. Professor Xavier in Logan. Sir Patrick Stewart is such an actor. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Damn, that was hard to watch. Logan. Logan, what did you do? What did you do? Answer me. Jesus, even the trailer for that is brutal. I watched that movie the year after my grandfather died from dementia/Alzheimer's. It hurt like hell to see how accurate Stewart's portrayal was. And then Logan's death as well. That movie brings me to tears every time I watch it. No other movie off the top of my head gets me that bad, and I'm unsure why. The line that always tips me over is when Laura cries "Daddy" while holding his hand and Logan has that deep sigh and says, "So this is what it feels like." And the movie leaves you to wonder whether "so this is what it feels like" is referring to Logan truly caring for someone other than himself or him finally seeing what it's like to die. I love ambiguous endings like this. Aubrey Martel in Game of Thrones. Made me physically ill. First time watching that, my girlfriend and I had to pause it and regroup. Probably the most shocking moment I've ever seen on a TV show, and it was a good twist. Since I'd already read the books, that moment for me was Tom jumping out the window. I watched it with friends and then the episode ended and we sat there speechless for like 5 minutes. Surprised I had to come this far down to see it, but 100% agree. Brutal. That poor guy who gets his heart ripped out by Thuggees and sent into lava in Temple of Doom always got me as a kid. Still pretty memorable. Wash. Serenity. Shepherd Book. His last bit was just watching the people he cared for be miserable while he was in incredible pain. I don't care what you believe. Just believe. Cedric Diggory's death in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. his dad crying and sobbing and just made me never forget it. That scene is amazing though by all the actors. Cheerful music playing but Dumbledore immediately sees what happened, then Mr. Diggory seeing it, and the music coming to a stop as everyone else does. It was exactly the way I imagined it from reading the books. Harry gets back and it's all happy celebration that turns to sudden horror when they realize what happened. My boy cuts me to the core every time. That's my son. That's my boy, breaks my heart even just remembering it. 1917, when Lance Corporal Blake gets shot stabbed by the enemy he was trying to help after a plane crash. And then his best friend has to watch him bleed out and later tell Blake's brother about his death. Awful. That scene is incredible. You can see his face starting to get flush from the blood leaving his body. At the end it's stark white. I just watched this movie like 2 weeks ago. Holy cow, what a ride. How do you even make an actor go pale like that? Literally I wasn't even expecting it. I thought he was going to be the main character. That's because he is the main character up until that point. I've always wanted to watch a story where the main character is hyped up as being the chosen one, like Blake, going off to save his brother and all, but then doesn't make it, leaving the side characters to pick up the pieces. And Men's gave us that. Pretty sure he's stabbed not shot. He gets a 7 bayonet in the gut and bleeds out.